guys, welcome to Debbie's Rusty Brush and Tiara Tuesday. I forgot my tiara, but I'm running late, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to be making some Valentine's Day signs today. So I've just got some scrap wood, and we're just going to get some of this painted. Maybe. All right, so we got it open. Now we're doing a wash on this wood. This one was white, the next one's going to be red. And I'm not going to change my brush with this because I don't care if a little bit of this white gets mixed in. When I do a wash, I just wet down my board and I put some paint on, and then I wipe it back because I want to be able to see the wood grain throughout the wood. So it's kind of like staining the board instead of painting it. I like the look of this, as well as it dries really, really fast. So I don't have to wait a lot of time for it to cure and dry before I can move on and make my signs. Now on those first two boards, I stained those using Dixie Belle paint. The white one was done in cotton and, I'm sorry, not cotton, buttermilk, buttercream. And the red one was done in rustic red. And now I'm using my DIY paint. This one I'm also wiping back, but not as much. I'm actually making more of a old wood look and feel to it. So I want a little bit of that grain to come through, but not as much as on the other ones because I want the variation in the colors. So I've got sandy blonde, deep chocolate, or layered chocolate, a gray, and what's called prairie gray. And prairie gray is actually kind of a really light taupey brown color. So it's not really a gray, it's more of a brown. And I'm just going to go all the way around this board. And as you can tell, I'm just kind of tiger striping it, getting all the colors in there, and then blending with a paper towel. It is important to note that with the DIY paint, it is a clay-based paint, and so it will lighten up quite a bit as it dries, but then when you seal it, you put wax or a sealer over the top, it darkens back up. Now I'm just going to take some of the Dixie Belle buttercream and I'm going to dry brush it onto this finished board here. I want it to look like it has been weathered and painted at one point and weathered down to where there's just really not a lot of the paint left on there. You can do this with more than one color. I've seen it done with teal. I've seen it done with red if it was off of like a red barn. It's really, really pretty. If you get some of your lines a little too heavy, there you can just sand back. This stuff will sand off really, really easy, and it just lightens those lines and makes them look like they're been there forever, instead of having that heavy look to it. And as you can see, it doesn't take a lot to just integrate those heavy lines back in and make it look all rustic and old looking, which was what I was going for with that one. Now my next sign, I'm going to do the same thing as before with kind of staining it. This again is DIY clay-based paint, and it's kind of an odd color for a Valentine's Day sign, but I have a plan for this one. And so I went ahead and switched over to my Dixie Belle on the buttercream, and then I mixed in mermaid tail and Old 57 and striped it like I did the rustic weathered wood board that I did, just so that there is some variation in the color on the board itself and it's not just a flat color. Okay, and now I've pulled out the stencils, and this one I am using DIY little black dress, and I'm just going to stencil in this arrow, and I'm just doing this with a dry brush, so I'm dipping it in the paint and I am offloading that onto a paper towel. I'm just using a stencil brush that I got at Walmart. And now I'm just going through and kind of deciding what lettering I want on this. And because I do want it to be somewhat straight, I'm just going to eyeball a piece of tape and make sure that I've got a semi-straight line. And that way I know where to line up my stencils at. Now, as you can see, I have not used these stencils before. I do like the kind of cursive type writing of it, and so I wanted to pull these out and use them. They're not real thick letters, and they're just really pretty. So now I'm just kind of getting an idea of where they will line up at. I a lot of times will not use stencils because you do have to try to get everything lined up where it's evenly spaced and it's going to look good when it's done. A lot of times what I will do is I will, on my computer, print out exactly what I want it to say, and then my words are already pre-spaced for me, and I'll use carbon paper to make my signs with. And to transfer those letters over. Now, my next video will be doing some block signs, and when I do that, I will be using the computer method on that one. I do not have a circuit cutter or one of those neat vinyl cutting machines to make my own stencils. That would be really nice. However, I'm not computer literate, so it would take more time for me to learn it. And I'm just afraid I wouldn't use it anyway because I would have to learn the program and I would just resort back to what I've always done. So now I wanted to get that heart in there, trying to figure out how to go about doing this where I'm not smearing paint and making a mess, because I tend to be impatient and want to move forward. And so I cause myself some heartache that way from time to time. So it's always best to take your time and let things dry in between going from one to the other so that you're not smearing your signs. And yes, a hairdryer is my best friend because, like I said, I definitely do not have a lot of patience. I just want to get in and get them done, and move on to the next one. Now this is kind of a cool stencil. It goes on half from one sheet and half from the other sheet. And so you do have to line them up just right, and you only do half the letter at a time. And so it does take longer because you have to dry in between. But it is a really cool stencil, and I really like the shape of these letters. And as always, if you want to see the full video of me doing this so it's not sped up and voiceover, you can hop on over to Debbie Rusty Brush on Facebook, and I do have those videos over there. I go live every Tuesday morning and Wednesday evening. And the videos are on the timeline, so you can hop over and take a look there if you wanted to see the full length process. Okay guys, I'm going to finish these signs by using some wax, but I always tend to get ahead of myself, go a little quickly, and I end up smearing the words that I've put on there because I don't wait long enough. So my trick for that is I take some Krylon matte finish spray paint and I just cover the area where the words are. Once that's dry, I can wax and I don't smear any of the words at all. These are the signs that I completed during the day using the stencils, and then I've got a couple more here that I did using acrylic pens and graphite paper to put the words over onto the signs. If you like my channel, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and share with your friends. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Bye-bye.